Story 1. It was a mundane, sleepy afternoon in calculus class. Friday, 7th period. Only minutes separated us from freedom and the long-awaited spring break. The room buzzed with restless energy. Our laid-back teacher, having mercy on us, decided to turn the period into a game session on sporkle.com. The tension broke into light-hearted laughter as we tackled a brand logo quiz. Then, it happened. My friend shouted out an answer, Adidas, just as the dean's voice crackled over the loudspeaker, strained and panicked. This is not a drill. Lockdown now. A cold wave of fear washed over me, goosebumps prickling my skin. Our easygoing teacher turned pale, eyes wide as he bolted to kill the lights, motioning us frantically to the back of the room. The hum from the panel in the corner ceased, plunging the room into eerie silence. This was serious. Minutes crawled by. Then came a sound that made my heart stop, a man screaming, wild and guttural, echoing down the hallway. Two girls whimpered, their fear spreading like wildfire. The man's voice drew closer, followed by the jarring metallic banging on the lockers. "I'll kill all of you," he screamed. A suffocating panic gripped me. The noise shifted, the banging now assaulting our classroom door. One of the girls cracked, a sob escaping her lips. "Open up," the voice roared. The pounding felt endless, each second a hammer strike against our sanity. Finally, as abruptly as it began, the noise receded down the hall, the screams becoming a distant echo. We sat, paralyzed, until the dean's voice returned, breathless but trying to sound composed. He explained that a deranged man had forced his way into the school, attacking the front desk woman who managed to flee. No one knew if he was armed. The school, lacking cameras and proper security, was vulnerable to a threat like this. Staff swept the building, but found nothing. The most disturbing part came later that night. A janitor discovered the man asleep in a storage closet, a glint of metal, a .44 Magnum, peeking from his pocket. By the time the police arrived, he was gone. To this day, we don't know if he was ever caught. I hope he's somewhere being held and treated, far from here. Story 2. Our school split lunch into 2 periods. The first was for 6th graders and some 7th graders. The second was for the rest of the 7th and all 8th graders. The lockdown happened in early October, on a day smothered in dark clouds and rain. During the first lunch, 4 deafening booms reverberated through the cafeteria. At first, I thought it was thunder, but the terrified screams of students told me otherwise. Campus security stormed in, shouting commands to herd us into the multipurpose room. Students buying lunch abandoned their trays, spilling food in a rush to safety. My friends and I were crammed inside with the panicked masses. The back wall of the room, a massive pane of glass, was quickly covered by security. Adults stood vigil at each exit, their faces set and grave. Eric, my friend, slipped away and questioned one of the adults. He returned, his face pale. "Do you know the houses across from TMS?" He whispered. A crazy guy barricaded himself in one, threatening to kill the cops and himself if they tried to evict him. He was watching the school earlier. A chill spread as we absorbed his words. The man was a registered sex offender. We were trapped for over an hour, the tension pressing down like a weight. When it was over, we were escorted to our classrooms one by one. Brandy, who lived near the man, told me something that haunted me. The previous Halloween, she'd seen him at his window, carving words into the glass with his own blood. "Don't come here or I'll kill you." Everyone thought it was a twisted Halloween prank. Now, we knew better. The man was real, and so was the danger. Story 3. At 22, fresh out of college, I took a job as a tech intern at my old high school, stationed in the basement office. The office was better than most. 3 big desks, 2 mini fridges, a wall-mounted TV, and air conditioning, unlike the stifling classrooms above. The servers hummed quietly around me. My old computer teachers had vouched for me, making me feel welcomed. Everything changed a few weeks in. My coworkers, Dave and Gary, were upstairs. I was alone, finishing my lunch, when a call came from the front office. The voice was taut with urgency. The school was on lockdown. An armed intruder was inside. The office had no door, just an open threshold. and the basement door lock was broken. I flipped off the lights and my computer screen, my fingers shaking as I texted Dave and Gary. No answer. The basement felt like a tomb as I sat listening, my phone cold in my hand. Then, the groaning sound of the basement door opening broke the silence. Footsteps echoed, hesitant but growing louder. I slid beneath my desk, heart hammering in my chest. My phone buzzed with a text from Dave. "This is insane. Someone shot Mr. Buckley. He's in a red shirt and cap. Don't come up." My eyes darted to the doorway. A man in a red plaid shirt and cap stood there, his breath ragged. He stepped inside, not bothering with the lights. "It's okay. I'm hiding too," he whispered. He ignored my questions, asking only if there was another way out. I stammered, pointing to the back. As I glanced at my phone, my stomach dropped. The description matched. He caught my expression. His eyes narrowed, and he stepped forward. Terror clawed at me. I bolted for the stairs as a gunshot cracked through the basement, the bullet ricocheting in the dark. I stumbled up the steps and into the light, where police swarmed the building. They caught the man as he reached the exit. Mr. Buckley survived, but no one ever found out why he was targeted. The sound of that gunshot follows me in my nightmares, a reminder that even the familiar can become a battleground in an instant. Story 4. I'm a retired police officer from New Jersey. Across my 20 years in the force, one call still haunts me. A lockdown at a nearby middle school. I'll keep the school's name hidden for everyone's safety. It was a bleak, storm-filled afternoon. My car number came crackling over the radio, ordering me to respond to a lockdown. Witnesses reported a sinister-looking man stepping out of a white van parked behind the school, slipping through the back door near the boys' locker room. I pulled into the back lot, my headlights casting eerie shadows on the van's exterior. It was empty. Every door and the trunk were locked, silent as the grave. I pushed open the red back door leading into the gym's dim hallway, just outside the locker rooms. Darkness swallowed the school. Main lights were off, leaving only the cold, empty silence. I drew my flashlight, its narrow beam barely cutting through the black. I made it to the lobby, where a woman emerged from the shadows of the front office. She whispered, pointing me toward the boys' locker room, warning me that the intruder could be armed. I called for backup, and my radio hissed back, promising help was en route. I retraced my steps down the shadowed hallways, finally reaching the locker room near the exit. I eased the door open, the darkness inside stretching out like a bottomless pit. My flashlight's beam was my only anchor in the void. The room was steeped in white noise, the faint hum of a ceiling vent cutting the silence. But through that I heard something else. Small, scratching noises. The metallic clicks of locker doors, moving just beyond my line of sight. Protocol demanded I announce myself as a police officer. But something primal, a fear like I'd never felt before, held my voice back. I gripped my flashlight tighter, held my gun in the other hand, and crept forward. But as I moved, the noises seemed to shift, taunting me from the opposite end of the room. I reached the corner near the bathroom. Then, from a few rooms away, a locker door slammed, shattering the silence. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I followed the echo, its trail leading into the football locker room. A darker, more oppressive space where lockers loomed 3 times larger. My breath hitched, but I finally managed to call out, "Police!" A muffled scream pierced the darkness, a child's voice pleading for help. The sound was weak, coming from the other side of the lockers. Heart pounding, I followed the desperate banging until I found him, locked inside a metal locker. My stomach twisted. I told him I'd be back, sprinting outside to search for the van. But it was gone. My mistake was not recording the license plate immediately. I radioed dispatch to watch for the van, then rushed back inside, directing the staff to call off the lockdown and find someone with a key for the locker room. Later, the boy told us how the man had forced a knife against his back, trying to steer him outside.